And we welcome you to another edition of On the Hash with Hatfield right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe right here to our YouTube channel, wherever you may be tuning in. We appreciate you doing so with us for each and every week of the pod, as we are now into the month of October with the high school football action across the Commonwealth and beyond. And I want to begin with just some of the gripping images and video footage that I was able to stumble upon, and I'm sure many others that watch this podcast and tune in on a regular basis are aware of what transpired across our state. Many of us that may be tuning in did not get affected too badly from Hurricane Helene and all the impact that it had, but there are a lot of people around our state just checking out our message boards on virginiapreps.com, and again, seeing some of the footage online, the photos. I'm sure you've seen it up and down the East Coast, what it did to various states and Georgia and Florida and North Carolina, our neighbors down there. We said our best, and I just echo some of the sentiments that others have shared on social pages and various media platforms, that it's just unfortunate to see, and some, just getting their power back in the southwestern parts of our state of Virginia. So we wish them all the best, and Godspeed to those folks that are dealing with all that transpired from the flooding and the storm with Hurricane Helene. And it did have an impact on the high school football schedule in a great way, as far as number of games were moved to Saturday, more than 20. We had some games played, in fact, by my count, 7 that were played on Monday with the likes of Blacksburg, Norcom, J.R. Tucker, Patrick Henry, Glade Spring, the Covenant School Union, and Warwick all prevailing. And then a couple on Tuesday with Grayson County, which I know folks out there just got their power back on the first day of October. They defeated Giles 28-7, and James Monroe of West Virginia beating Narrows 34-6. But as far as closer to home and my backyard here in the 757, what took place and how it really affected the landscape, and power ratings will be coming out from the Virginia High School League in the next week or so, their first edition of them. I know they wanted to wait with the storm to put them out, and that made a lot of sense. A couple of the results that caught our eye from last week, certainly Green Run got a tussle. They were in a battle with Kempsville for 3 quarters, and then they opened it up in the 4th, and they are the prohibited beach favorites, still on that streak, which I know people hate hearing different streaks. There'll be Phoebus with Jeremy Blunt's team on their win streak, Brandon Williams and his Stallions on a win streak. They want to stay focused at the old cliche of one game at a time, if you will. Nonetheless, Kempsville took them into a battle where Green Run didn't score until the 3rd quarter, and then got 18 more points to win at 24-7. Only touchdown for Kempsville was on a scoop and score from Darrell Veal in that 4th and final stanza of 93 yards. Meanwhile, you had a couple of games that got moved up, more than a couple of games. A good smattering of games got moved to Thursday, which involved one you'll hear some sound later on in the program from Zadarius Wynn of the Kings Fork Bulldogs, who held off their Suffolk rival Nansemond River 32-27. One of the bigger games in the state Thursday. Besides that was Heritage of Lynchburg falling after getting an early lead against Liberty Christian, the defending Class 3 champs, 34-27, whose win streak is now closing in on 20 for them, defending Class 3 champs. And there was a few others that, caught our eye. One of the big developments that has transpired in the last 24 to 48 hours, depending on when you are checking out this podcast, was in Class 2, where one of our top 10 ranked teams, Central Woodstock, just a couple years removed from playing in a state final, they've had to forfeit their first 4 games of the season. Now, one of them they lost to open the season to Riverheads. They then had 3 subsequent wins over, I think, Stanton, East Rockingham, and I forget who the third team was. It might have been Broadway. Anyhow, forgive me. So they're 0-4 now, and that shakes things up because they still have to play Clark County, King William, who's not gotten in the win column, and their finale, I believe, is against Strasburg, who's off to a surprising 5-0 start. So some of the seeding out there will be interesting. Poquoson, sticking in Class 2 for a second, didn't have their head coach, who was attending a wedding in Elliott Duty. So the offensive coordinator, Bill Ward, coaches the game. They enter a back-and-forth tussle on Saturday with Tab. They get it done 28-21. War Hill snapped its losing skid. They beat New Kent 34-24. York squeaked by Jamestown, who's getting better and better, as we've highlighted. Maury, no trouble for them whatsoever, as they won with total ease, beating Lake Taylor, who's winless on the year still. They'll play Booker T. Washington this week, who hasn't scored all season, so the Titans try to get in the win column for this first time. Maury remains unblemished. And Phoebus got a scare. I mentioned the Green Run getting a battle on a wet field against Kempsville. Phoebus over on the turf at Darling Stadium, surprising score to many of us that were at the Indian River Deep Creek game last Saturday, is 21-14 in favor of the Bruins. Now, after that point, Phoebus goes roaring. They score 42 unanswered, and they win by a running clock margin against the Bruins, but maybe a sign of David Porter's team getting better and better with Derek Fisher at quarterback, and also Amari Pryor in the running back spot, who had a couple of big long runs in that game for the Bruins, so maybe a sign of improvement. Phoebus has got the big rivalry showdown with Hampton this Saturday. You mentioned Indian River beating Deep Creek. You'll hear some sound in just a moment from their head coach and a couple of their standout players. They've got Kings Fork on deck in Suffolk. That's a game of the week candidate like Hampton Phoebus, part of that Great American Rivalry Series, which has been a topic for many years as maybe the best rivalry in the state. It hasn't had quite the pizzazz and buzz of years past. And then the big one on the beach with Green Run taking on Salem. And known for their prolific offenses, those two defenses, we'll tell you more about that as we move it along, have really stepped up to the plate. We'll be giving out our IL Giardino Coach of the Week a little bit later on in the pod. And we'll also announce our Chicho's Pizza 757 Football Player of the Week in just a moment. But I do want to mention, before we get to the post-game sound from Saturday, that in addition to the playoff power ratings coming out next week, we're really at the midway point. So now you're starting to see some of these games have more meaning, as far as if you're a team that's not in that picture and you lose one or two more, you're done. You get chopped off as far as making it. And there's been a couple of regions that have changed the number of teams that go this year. For example, last year, if you recall, Phoebus had that 100-plus point beatdown debacle against Jamestown. 4A is not taking 8 this year. They're taking 6 as they're giving the 1 and 2 seeds buys. So we'll be telling you more as we get more info as far as some of the changes with regional playoff seedings and how they will shake out for this year. Not a ton of changes. I know, in speaking with one of my writers at Virginia Preps, Robert Anderson, he was telling me that the 6D field, you can take the 6, 7, and 8 seeds, and they have better seeds than most everyone in 6C, with the exception of the top heavyweight favorite in Hayfield. Our number one preseason teams have remained unblemished so far in all 6 classes. We had Hayfield number 1 in Class 6 on VirginiaPreps.com, still undefeated. Maury in Class 5 got through the gauntlet of the schedule early with the likes of Wise from Maryland, Highland Springs, and Dinwiddie. They'll see potentially a 9-0 Granby into the season. That'll be a big showdown in Norfolk and Eastern District, and for the Region 5 being the playoffs. Class 4, we went with Phoebus, and they got through Highland Springs to open, and they're still rolling. Got the matchup with Hampton, as we mentioned. Class 3, Liberty Christian got a battle from a district rival in Heritage of Lynchburg, but they've been unscathed, led by the great running back going to Clemson and Gideon Davidson. Class 2 went with Graham, got themselves quite a tussle 2 weeks ago with Union, who was able to get back on track after back-to-back losses by beating Gate City 28-19. But Graham got it done against Virginia High this past weekend, 27-14. And in Class 1, Essex, our number 1 choice, although Alta Vista may be a very close 2 who fell to them in the state semis a year ago. Don't see them being totally threatened just yet. Although Rappahannock and Northumberland are on the schedule for them later on in the season. By the way, you see that across our ticker. Armstrong put up a 90-burger, 90 points on Manassas Park last Saturday. Armstrong, a team that we might have to pay a little more attention to in Class 3, where Lafayette put forth a dominant effort in shellacking Smithfield. We talked about Liberty Christian being so great, and we also know how very good Thomas Jefferson of Richmond has been. TJ and Armstrong will battle off against each other in early November. Winner of that may be viewed as the favorite in Region 3B, although they could certainly run into each other again, with Kettle Run being another team you have to watch out for in that state playoff picture when it comes to what is going on with the squads that are in Class 3. All right. We caught up with the dynamic duo for the Indian River Braves, got themselves a 49-10 satisfying win over Deep Creek last Saturday in Chesapeake. Defensive standout for them in the secondary is Trey Voskanyan, and the new quarterback that came in from Bayside in Kamari, Kirby. Here's what they told us after their victory over the Deep Creek Hornets. It's on the hash with Hatfield.
All right, here with the dazzling duo for the Indian River Braves, we've got the quarterback Cam Kirby on the left, number 3, and on the right, Trey Voskanyan, number 6, a defensive back. They beat the Deep Creek Hornets today, 49-10. Cam, 264 yards for you today. I think you had a $180 passing, 84 rushing, 4 TDs, 2 passing, 2 rushing. Tell me how this team is clicking right now. You had the game postponed because of weather. Clear sunny day. This was right up your alley, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Basically, came out, worked all week at practice, working. We came off a bye week, so we had to put in extra work, and it paid off.
Yeah, and the scoreboard shows it. Before I flip it over to your mate here, who had his 2 picks today, including a pick 6 as his career total, I think now at 17. But tell me about early, you guys fumbled it, but it felt from there the offense started to execute. What was the key coming in to stay in that rhythm against this defense today?
Just understanding we had to play together as a team, keeping it like staying calm, came out, execute, keep working.
Trey, for you, your coach told me I think you're now up to 17 career picks. You've got like 3 pick 6s the last 2 years. I think we tweeted out sleeper alert. You're one of those DBs that's one of the best around right now. Tell me about what it is out there when the ball's coming your way in your vicinity, you're able to make a play on it and take it to the house.
It's really my coach just putting me in great position, going over technique every day in practice, watching film every day. Like you said, bye week, so we had extra preparation, a lot of mental days, a lot of watching film. And just, doing my job as best as I could.
To be one of the best DBs around, which I'm sure you strive to be on a regular game-by-game, week-by-week basis, you talk about the mentality thing. Is it a mindset of not just getting the pick, but scoring? I have that mentality to go make a play once I do make the initial play?
Yes, sir. Yeah, just being an athlete, trying to, put points up like that. And to do that, you got to score on defense, too.
Sure. Last year, Cam, you were going up against his defense and Jordan Harris and those guys in the playoffs. You guys were tough with them in the first half. They pulled away. How have you adapted and adjusted to your new school surroundings? I know you guys have big goals to defend this region championship Indian River won last year and maybe go further.
Yes, sir. Like I said, we just going to keep working, keep playing as a team. Got used to the environment over here. They brought me in. They love me. So I'm going to get them everything I got. We're going to go undefeated. We're going all the way.
There you go. Lastly, Trey, and that's the goal for you guys to win every game you play. You've got some tough ones coming. I know that the big Chesapeake rival in Oscar Smith, but next is Kings Fork, who's also undefeated. You got the taste last year of state playoffs, winning region championship. What do you guys got to do to win that game next? We can keep this thing rolling at Indian River.
Intensity in practice. It all starts in practice. Going to practice, coming in, getting better every day. Just being prepared and doing our job, executing, getting takeaways, converting on third down. And our offense does a great job of that. They help us out a lot as a defense.
When you come to the Braves, you're going to see Voskanyan, Kirby, and company make plays. Indian River stays undefeated. Thanks, guys. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Tell you what, they looked mighty, mighty strong in that game. Voskanyan's instincts are super impressive, and Kirby has really continued to make strides at the QB spot. We saw glimpses of it last year at Bayside, and he even gave Indian River some fits in the first half of their playoff loss for the Marlins. That is He gave Indian River some fits Bayside losing that game, and the Braves went on to win the region championship. He's just stepped up even more in his new surroundings and spraying the ball to a lot of different people. And I like his progression a whole lot. I really think that they're going to be a hard out come playoff time, and they've got some big showdowns coming up, looming. Of course, the one that we mentioned with Kings Fork this week. You'll hear Brendan Carr's thoughts in a second. And they have Oscar Smith, which is always a Chesapeake Southeastern District rivalry showdown in the month of October, usually when it is scheduled. So there you have it. Let's hear now from the head coach of the Braves, Brendan Carr. Last year took him to a region championship, one of the younger coaches around, but he's doing a fine job over there where the expectations are high and they're expected to be a factor once again in the Region 5A playoff picture where who knows? We might see them in Green Run Thanksgiving weekend. We could see them in Salem in the region playoffs. You never know. Here's what Coach Carr shared with us after the victory over the Hornets on the hash with Hatfield.
All right, here with Indian River head football coach Brendan Carr. His Braves win it to move to 4-0, 49-10 over Deep Creek on the road here. Coach, Coach Twine's going to have his guys prepped. It's a Saturday. You move the game back a day from the weather. First half is 21-10, but what was the difference in the second half to enable you guys to pull away and win this by a running clock margin?
It's that adjustment like you talk about. Whenever you take kids out of routine, kind of slows them down. So that, they gotta wake up on their Saturday morning fields and get it out of them and get back to the game. So that's what we did in the second half. They just woke up and started playing football.
I felt like every time I saw you being an off-season at games the last 2 years, I talked about how underrated Jordan Harris was for who's now at Norfolk State. They got themselves a steal, and I feel like I'm doing that now with Trey Voskanyan. 17 career picks. He's got 3 pick sixes the last 2 years, and today he breaks on one and helps you open up the game. What makes him so special and unique back there for your secondary?
Trey is a 3-year starter now. He's a student of the game. We have Coach Tank in our secondary now, and they're joined at the hip. He's always asking questions,
and
always learning.
That's Coach Tank Land for those that aren't familiar, right?
Yes, sir.
Played in the area,
yep. And our defensive coordinator, Coach Fu, he spends a lot of time asking him a lot of things to learn the defense to be comfortable. And so that's what makes him the player that he is.
Yeah, good to have that camaraderie, competitiveness in practice. A guy who used to make some picks back in his days playing over at Ocean Lakes. For you guys, it felt like up front you guys were able to bottle up a lot of their run game with their quarterback, Breon Cuffey. Was that the emphasis of the break? Because after halftime, just 39 yards, and it felt like a lot of your linebackers, defensive guys were making plays in the backfield.
Yeah, we went inside and we had a spirited conversation about, getting hats on them and, putting those licks on them. And they responded in the second half, so that was good to see.
You told me a few weeks back that you love not just the versatility in your offense, which we'll get to in a minute, but led by your new quarterback in Cam Kirby, but the defensive players that are stepping up. Freshman for you, Casey Jordan, who's like among the area leaders in sacks. And today, number 0 for you, who's playing both sides of the ball, Andre, I think it's DJ Alexander. He's got a lot of upside to him. What makes those guys tick? And have you not been afraid to see these guys go into the fire and make these type of plays? You got to be pleased with it, right?
I'm very pleased with them. But those are 2 young men who have, since day one, since they hit Indian River, they've worked hard. They've attacked the weight room. All the guys who are students of the game, both of them, if they make a mistake once, they're eager to learn how to correct it, and they don't make it twice.
Mm-hmm. You graduated a good quarterback in Tyler Allison, who was an all-region performer for you as you won the Region 5A title. In steps Cam Kirby, comes in for you guys. 264 yards today, 4 TDs, 2 passing, 2 rushing. What are you liking about his progression right now?
I just like how he's taking everything that we're doing offensively. Coach Lee is doing a good job calling the plays and, spreading that ball around, but also playing to his strength. So, between the design of our offense and his ability, I just really love the way he's taken to it and understanding it.
You've been an assistant. You played in the Southeast District. You got roots here in the 757, but you got elevated to head coach a couple years back. And Indian River's been, knocking on that championship door. You guys won a region title last year. It feels like in a lot of ways you're flying under the radar. Big games are coming. Do you like that though? The ones upcoming, including Kingsport next week, will test you guys. What are you seeing here as we're almost at the halfway point from your group? The good, the bad, the things you got to clean up, and what can help you maybe make another run?
We're shooting for perfection over here. We haven't hit it. We haven't played our best game of football yet. Our game 1 against Verona up in Richmond, we were battle tested. We showed a lot of good things and we got better from it. So I'm looking forward to the stretch down the line. That's why we played the game that we did early on game 1 to kind of get them ready and prepared mentally and physically for the stretch we're about to see.
Well, really sharp performance today. Thank you so much. All the best and congrats.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that was Brandon Carr of the Indian River Braves, who have Kings Fork on deck. 4-0 Braves at the 5-0 Bulldogs, one of the must-see matchups of the Big Three in Tidewater, along with Green Run visiting Salem, and then the Saturday one at Darling Stadium at high noon, the Hampton Crabbers and the Phoebus Phantoms. We'll dive into those towards the end of the show here on the Hash with Hatfield. A few things from Coach Carr. Number one, he hit on that Verona game being such a big litmus test, and I think it allowed them some growth. Kirby makes a big play late. They go to double overtime. They pull it out. And since then, I think the confidence has been oozing for this group. And the offensive line, big credit to Coach Carr and his staff with DJ Dinsmore and TJ Lee calling the shots offensively. That offensive line, they kept Kirby clean, and they're doing a good job blocking up front. Corey Sinnerland, really an unsung hero for them that came over from Maury. And then I mentioned the freshman. Jordan, the first play, comes right around the edge and is harassing the quarterback. And Alexander, DJ Alexander, they call him Andre Alexander, number 0. Folks, if you go check them out this year, gets 3 touches, about 70, 80 yards of offense. He's all over the field making plays, making things happen. And defensively, 6-7 tackles. He is going to be a stud in years to come. You can mark it down. So I know that they're thrilled with what they're looking at, and they have a tough battle on their hands coming up with the Kings Fork Bulldogs. And speaking of Cam Kirby, how well he played, he is our second 757 football Chicho's Pizza Player of the Week. Kudos to him as he completes 18 of 24 passes, $180, no intercepts, the 2 touchdowns, 1 each to Alexander and Jaquise Graves. And he also runs for a couple of scores to go with his 84 yards on 10 attempts. And well-deserved Chicho's Pizza 757 Football Player of the Week to the junior trigger man for the Indian River Braves. So there you have it. We'll take a timeout, come back with a special guest joining us. This is sort of a Southeastern District show for this week. So if you're a fan of just the Eastern, the Peninsula, Bay Rivers, or Beach, or you don't like the Southeastern, this wasn't for you. But I'm sure there's a lot of SED football fans, Chesapeake, Suffolk flavor. We've got coming up Donnell Brown. Played his college football for the Dukes of JMU. I should fire up that fight song, right? 3-1 are they. Got a nice win over Great Bridge. They've got Deep Creek coming up. And Hickory, first time that they're off to this kind of start in literally 13 years. So we're going to give them some love and talk about what they've done to get to this point. We'll hear from him after the break. Right here, it's On the Hash with Hatfield. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button, most importantly, to get all of your updates when it comes to all the local sports. We have podcasts for you. We have live sports with football, field hockey, lacrosse, and so much more right here through Cova Sports TV. But right now, we'll take a timeout, hear from some of the sponsors, and come back with more right here on Cova Sports TV.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
As a lifelong local, avid waterman, coach at Kellam High School, coach at the Virginia West Shopping Club, also a member at Virginia Beach National and Henry Ridge Golf Club. The 757 is a great place to live and play. As a seasoned realtor at the Bryant Group, I know I can find you the perfect home.
And we welcome you back to On the Hash with Hatfield here on Cova Sports TV, wherever you are tuning in. We thank you for doing so. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a special guest with us. He is the head football coach of the 3-1 Hickory Hawks, who are off to their finest start in more than a decade. A big thrilling win over their Chesapeake rival, Great Bridge, 21-20 last week. And each week, he doesn't know about this, but we give out our Chicho's Pizza 757 Football Player of the Week, as well as our IL Giardino Coach of the Week. And getting that Coach of the Week is Donnell Brown of the Hickory Hawks. We say hello and congrats to him at 3-1. Coach, you get the honor. I don't know if that means you get something from IL Giardino. I hope so. I'll have to talk to the powers that be that help set this up. But congrats to you. It's a nice start for you and your squad.
Wow, definitely appreciate this surprise honor. Definitely didn't tell me in advance, but I do definitely appreciate that. It goes to the whole staff, not just myself. And the boys are off to a great start. We came out the gates with some great momentum, ran into a very, very tough Indian River team with Coach Carr. Then we were able to get a victory with Western Branch and with Great Bridge. And the senior leadership is a big part of that, helping out with that and getting going. So I'm excited. We got a big, big matchup. As everyone knows, in the Southeastern District, there's no rest. You're going into another good opponent, playoff team in Deep Creek that we host here on Friday night.
Yeah, I got a chance to check out the Hornets last Saturday, and then the loss was deceiving to a really strong Indian River team, 49-10, because they were in that ball game for a half, and their quarterback can do some things, and Breon Cuffey. But let's chat about you and your guys. What have made you 3-1 at this point? I know you had that one humbling loss to Indian River, which there's no shame in, the defending Region 5A champions. But I had been to go on NFHS Network a little bit later on afterwards and watch the finish to your game with Great Bridge, which was a heck of a finish. They had the lead 22-14 with about 1:41 to go. Your quarterback rolls to the right. I think it was a 3rd and 12, and he found your wide receiver, Alex Underwood, for that go-ahead score. And you had to just be super proud to bounce back and put together a game-winning drive, which I think all coaches, you guys practice that 2-minute drill all the time, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. The resiliency of the team was really stood out. The irony when we looked at that game at halftime, it was very similar to what happened last year when we played Great Bridge. They came out with a great game plan, and they were attacking us, and we were in there a little bit. Last year, unfortunately, we did not respond the way we should have responded, and Great Bridge went on to beat us by a couple scores. This year, you saw a resiliency in the team that was different, where they came back and had a great third quarter where we took the lead. And then Great Bridge showed some good grit with their quarterback, and they threw a deep ball. I don't know the kid name, number 9. He made a heck of a catch and got it down to the 1. They took the lead. And then our kids, it's not cliche, but it's the truth. When they came off that field after the score, you just felt the energy on the sideline that we're going to go back and score. And that's a tribute to the leader and to the leaders of the team, especially with our quarterback, Owen Kelly, along with other leaders who kept the energy up. On that play, the great part about that is he throws it to one of his close friends, Alex Underwood, who's what people call a program kid. Chances of college football for that kid is not high, but he's a high character kid, high GPA kid. He's at every workout. He's always trying to prove his craft. He goes to practice all August to work on improve his catching. And to see that happen was very special because of the nature of those two kids and who they are as people.
Yeah, and I want to dive in on some of your key guys like Alex and Owen, others that have helped you to this start. It's the first 3-1 start for Hickory football. Your alma mater since 2011, and that team finished up with a winning record, 6-4, which you guys are striving for to have this year as you look to make the playoffs in a very competitive region field. For you, Coach, let's go in the Wayback Machine for a little bit. For those who don't know your background, you are from Hickory, as is your brother Donnell.
Yes.
I remember some Hickory teams when the school first opened up, but it's only been open since 1996. It hasn't been open as long as a lot of the Chesapeake and Southeastern District schools, or even schools around the 757. But I know you and your brother have to talk about it all the time. Like, man, I wish we had the 18 format back when we played, because you guys you had some teams that were just so close. In fact, Hickory, for those that forget, under Jeff Beard, 2006, I think it was, snapped that Oscar Smith district stranglehold, beat them shockingly. Fill the audience in on your background, high school, college days too, and what led you back to your alma mater, because you were coaching somewhere else in the 757 before you returned to Hickory.
Absolutely. I did play football high school under Coach Jeff Beard, who had a long time experience with D Creek in the 90s. D Creek called the Glory Days. He was part of that staff. I believe Carter was the head coach. And then he went on to coach with Lou Johnson for a little bit, and then went to Kentsville, and he came and coached us. We started out with Coach Habit, who was the original coach at Hickory High School, and then Beard came along. Both of those coaches we've learned a lot from, me, my brothers, and the other teammates for. After that, was fortunate to play college football and blessed to play college football at James Madison University under Coach Mickey Matthews, who was just inducted to the College Hall of Fame at James Madison University. So definitely congratulations to him. Taught me a lot of things about football organization and how hard you can really play the game of football on Coach Mickey Matthews. Started my coach career at Broadway High School, right outside Harrisonburg. Coach Brad Lutz was the head coach. He's now at, I believe, William Fleming, if I want to be correct.
William Bird.
William Bird, yes.
Yeah. Who won a region championship last year, but he's done a great job there, yeah.
He's a winner. And if you have never met the guy and been around him, you see why. Because it's not just about what's on the field. He wins at all facets of the programs. And definitely learned a lot from him. And then was fortunate to come back home, work on a Jupiter for a while here at Hickory. Then I was learning a lot from him as well. He's doing well down there at Hickory Ridge in Charlotte. And then I went to Jamestown, got an eye-opening experience out there with the powerhouse Lafayette right next door, and then War Hill. Coach Wheeler was a coach there, Thad Wheeler, and they were emerging. And then you have a lot of traditions in Bay Rivers with York and all those other schools, Tab. So definitely got an experience out there. Had some growing pains, but learned a lot from there. The opportunity came to come back to Hickory, and it was something that I always wanted to do because we've had some success. You had Beer where he had his 3 years of success. Then you went in where Coach Wilson had success 1 year high. And when I say success, we'll say winning records. And then you had Coach Sitterson also had one there too. So I knew it could be done again. We just had to get back to some of them roots and some of those things. And that was a big part of the conversation I had with Coach Jupiter Wilson when he left and I took the job. We must have talked for days just about different things that he saw that he may have done differently, that he would have changed and all those things and those adjustments. So that kind of helped lay the groundwork. And then it was just trying to get the right thing going, get the right people on the bus as far as coaches and players, and get this thing moving in the right direction. So that's kind of background where I am to where I'm coming back at Hickory, the coach here.
And you mentioned some very fine people that have been involved in your coaching odyssey here with the likes of going back to Jeff Beard, who was at Deep Creek with Jerry Carr to the 90s before David Cox took over. And you mentioned Coach Lutz out there now, William Bird, Jupiter Wilson, and others that have contributed to your growth as a coach and what you're doing now at Hickory with the staff at 3-1 on the season. But let's be honest here. Jupiter, the former Hawks coach, is a UNC guy. You're a JMU guy. You had to rub it in on him when they beat him 70-50 2 weeks ago, did you not? You had to just plug the stuff with that about that, didn't you?
I was so ready to text him. But I paused on the text.
Oh.
I usually wait until we cross paths or we talk. We usually call each other and catch up on each other. And
well, now's your chance. You can just talk as much junk as you want to.
Well, he knew the better school came out on top, and I tried to let him know for a while that when it comes to not even just football no more with JMU, because men's basketball took off. You had a year with softball took off. I believe it's lacrosse and field hockey. It's amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to go back up there, but when I went back up,
championships, I do the call for the NFHS network, this championship games. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As is my dad, who's an alum of JMU 77. Not to cut you off here, but so I do the ODU women's basketball on radio. I've done it the last 3 years. So every time JMU beats, I say us ODU. I hear it from my dad literally the minute the game ends. So
yeah, I've been like I said, I haven't reached out to Jupe just yet, and I know he's waiting. He's probably sitting there saying, soon as I pick up the phone, I'm going to slip it out and say, hey, JMU still on top. That was surprising when the week before was the Hall of Fame weekend where Coach Matthew got inducted, and then the 2004 championship team, which had a lot of players from the 757, a part of that team. They all got inducted, and we didn't play our best game against Gardner-Webb. So there was moaning and groaning as a fan, you could say. But if you ever encounter Coach Chesney, he's going to get it done. He's a well-spoken, high character guy. I just get a vibe from him that he's going to do it the right way and build it the right way. And I'm excited to see what he did. And the turnaround from week 1 or week 2 against Gardner-Webb to UNC, I think that speaks volume. And then the follow-up this week against Ball State, I think it speaks volume to who he is.
I actually told my dad I thought the win over Ball State, in a strange way, people might argue it was more impressive than the UNC one, just because of how dominant the defense was in the margin. To follow it up, making that stick to get the win like that, because you can always be on upset alert. You know how kids are, which we're going to get to how it compares to your situation coming up here this week with Deep Creek. But it's amazing what JMU has done, that athletic department with all the sports, and just to see the coaches to go from Mickey Matthews, Mike Houston wins a championship, Kurt Signetti, who's got Indiana undefeated right now.
Yes.
And now we see what Coach Chesney coming in from Holy Cross has done is remarkable. Let's touch on your guys and what's going to take to be a factor as we get closer and closer to November. It's now October here. You're 3-1. What do you like most about this team, Coach, as far as your strengths and allows you to have a chance in these ball games against the Southeastern District schools that are known for a ton of success? We've got 3 or 4 schools that have won region championships or been in the state playoffs lately with Oscar Smith. Its dominance. Western Branch is 2 years removed. Kings Fork, and some of those teams you'll see later on the schedule. But I imagine that Western Branch one was the one that helped you catapult to what happened against Great Bridge. You're looking for more here, but give us some of the names and what you think you guys do well in the field.
Well, first and foremost, it starts with the quarterback position. Owen Kelly, who last year came back. Everybody's familiar with the situation, but he came back and what he did once he came back till now, you couldn't ask better. It was head down, working, regaining some of the trust, and become the leader that he was always destined to be. And he did that and led us all through the offseason, just working tremendously hard. Anytime you have a calm, steady hand at the quarterback, you have a chance. And I think that's in all of football. Now you're not sitting there worried about if you're going to get the snaps or you're going to get the right decision making. It kind of calms down everything. One of the biggest things that I think helped out this year is the play of the O-line. Those kids across the board, they've been hitting the weight room all off season, and they're starting to make some moves in the trenches. Run the ball on teams. We were able to run the ball against Western Branch, which helped tremendously. Run the ball against Great Bridge, course against Manor. Those things help out a lot when you're trying to attack the defenses in the Southeastern District, because of the elite athleticism you have on the perimeter in this district. I mean, there's no secret. Any college coach, anybody could tell you when you watch a Southeastern District game, there's some studs on the field that you're looking at like that's going to be playing at a big time school and college. So having the ability to run the ball on offense has helped out tremendously. Defensively, the guys are flying around. They're playing sound defense and they're flying around and they're playing as a unit, playing for each other, not playing for themselves. I know we have some players who are having a lot of tackles in our Mike Backer, and Grayson Midget, but it's the collective effort. We have Ikaika Liao at DN, who absolute monster out there on the DN, on the edge for us in the run game, providing pass rush. He's the one that had the game sealing pressure that helped force that fumble at the end of the game against Great Bridge to seal that one. Doing a great job on the edge for us with that. Javon Walker running the ball. That was huge for us. He's a big load. He runs behind his pads. He's finishing runs. You saw in the game against Great Bridge, and even sometimes against Western Branch, where you're like, he's willing us right now. He's refusing to go down, which is huge for us. But it's been a collective effort. I know I highlighted those things, but it's been a collective effort. Secondary playing better, special teams, Vasquez as our kicker has given us the ability to knock in 3 points consistently. It's been a collective effort that's been helping out. That's the thing we're most proud about, because it's a team. It's unity that's doing it, and that's what's going to be able to put us in a position to go further.
Yeah, it feels like that complementary football, which gets sometimes overused, but it feels like when your offense is making big plays, it'll be Javon Walker running it, and Owen Kelly throwing it to Underwood and the receivers, the line blocking, and the defense getting after it like Ikaika Liao, as you mentioned, the special teams units converting the kicks, the field goals, field position. It all kind of plays hand in hand. For you, a couple more, we'll let you run. We thank you for coming on the program. I'm curious, adversity, when you battle adversity and you lose the way you did in your, I mentioned the Western Branch game being a big win. When you suffered that loss, maybe years past, it might have lingered for you. How did you guys deal with that? Because they are one of the better teams around, but to respond and not let it, dwell over you, if you will.
Well, I mean, one thing I always believe in when prepping for a team is to be straightforward and tell you who the team is that you're playing. And I gave my opinion on what I thought Indian River, the talent they had, the coaching all come together, what their potential chances could be. I won't say it out on the thing because then Carr would kill me, but sure. I thought they had a really good team, and we had to play a certain way to battle with them and to do certain things. So coming back from film, and we come in to meet on film, I thought it was two things. One, our kids need to see what was their doing, what was our doing. Did we lose leverage on that play? Did we not play with fundamentals on defense? Did we not see the blitzing linebacker? Did we not execute those plays? And that was a big part of the conversation. And then the other part, talking with our coaching staff is believing. Did these kids step on the field believing that they could beat Indian River? And we kind of left thinking that the kids didn't think they could do it. And we thought as coaches, it was our job to help instill that belief that, you can play with these teams in this district. You can put yourself in a position to win. And we just spent a lot of time after that game. And it was, we're going to come out here and we're going to play, and we have a chance to beat Western Branch. And we, not saying we will like calling games, but we wanted to instill that when you do the right things in the game of football, you put yourself in a position to win the game of football. So belief was a big part. So it was fixing the fundamentals, fixing the errors, and then getting our kids to understand that we can do it. And I think that's across the board in any school.
Mm-hmm. Final one, and it's great perspective from you, Coach. You got Deep Creek coming up. It's a chance to beat them for the first time since 2016. They've won the last 7 in the series, and the Hawks haven't had a 3-game winning streak since 2011. So if you can get to 4-1, you know how enormous that would be, not just for the morale, your kids, the school of confidence, but for the playoff chase, because that's what you're all striving for, is to get in that 18 field in Region 5A. What's it going to take to beat them and even surprise more people to get to 4-1?
Well, Coach Twine always does a great job with his team. They're going to be physical. They're going to try to establish the run game. And Coach Howard, who I used to, both of those, Twine, I used to play against when he was at Great Bridge, and then Coach Howard at Deep Creek. But he's going to have the defense ready. So they're going to be well coached. They're going to try to establish their physicality. For us, we got to come out here, A, like I said, always believe that we can do it. And then B, play at a high level, executing on offense and defensively doing what we're supposed to do to get off the field, playing together, and then not letting one play or one touchdown or whatever play deteriorate from our goal, and not sit there and think because one thing happened, now the rest of the game is going to happen. No, let's play the game. Let's play the full game. Let's play after play. Let's play full quarters, and come out here prepared and ready to go and play to the best of our abilities. And that will be our best chance at playing a very good opponent in Deep Creek.
Well, we're wishing you all the best. I never root for teams to win or lose unless it's in the picks contest when I'm going opposite my Saturday partner on the podcast, Coach Young. If he's got one team, I root for the other team in that specific case. However, I say that all to say to you, I hope you continue to get more victories, because that means I can get out there to see the Hawks in action and get me a Hawk burger. I haven't had a Hickory Hawk burger in a while. That is some great stuff. You guys do it great up there at Hickory. I mean, from everybody, the whole atmosphere, the school officials, the band, the cheerleaders, and especially those at the concession stand, they do a top-notch job getting that Hawk burger, because the first time I had it, I think it was around 2007-ish, 2000, somewhere in there. I was like, oh, this is a different kind of burger. It is.
Yes, our band who runs our concessions, they do a great job with that Hawk burger. And even my friends in the coaching profession, they will always joke, and they're like, hey, after the game, you make sure they still have them burgers ready so I can give you a Hawk burger on the way home. So definitely I invite everybody to come on out and support. It's our homecoming weekend. So it should be exciting. Hopefully it's going to be a great game against a great opponent in Deep Creek. So I'm excited for Friday night.
There you go. Go check out Donnell Brown and his Hickory Hawks 3-1 playing host to the Deep Creek Hornets in a big Southeastern District matchup this coming Friday. And again, our IL Giardino, congrats to you, Coach of the Week in the 757, Donnell Brown. All the best to you, my friend. We will talk soon, and enjoy it this week and beyond.
All right. Thank you, and good to see you.
Great to see you. That's Donnell Brown of the Hickory Hawks, our guest here. We'll take a time out here with some of the sponsors that make it possible for us to do On the Hash with Hatfield right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be back with more to put the finishing touches on this week's episode.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh?
Get out of here! We've got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
well, no, we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cove Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Get ready for the Neptune Bowl presented by DoubleTree by Hilton on November 23rd, 2024 at the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Tailgating starts at 10 a.m. Grab your passes for just $50. Gates open at 12:30 with kickoff at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are only $20 or $25 at the gate on game day. College football only comes to Virginia Beach once a year. Visit beachsportsplex.com to learn more today and secure your spot.
Welcome you back to On the Hatfield here on Cove Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're tuning in on VirginiaPreps.com, Apple, Spotify, Facebook, IG, X. We always appreciate your feedback, your input, and your interaction with us. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel for much, much more. You heard from Donnell Brown. We thank him for stopping by, the IL Giardino Coach of the Week. If you have a nomination ever for the Coach of the Week or Player of the Week, I don't know that it has to be someone from the 757, but that's obviously where we're based out of. God doesn't know. I'd like to highlight whoever it is, whenever. And some big games this week in the high school football scene. Let's start with some of the big matchups that we were teasing a little bit earlier. Actually, before we do that, before we get to the big matchups, we have one more clip for you all, and that was from last Thursday. Out there in Suffolk, in the Peanut City, Zadarius Wynn and the Bulldogs got themselves a satisfying win over the Nansemond River Warriors, and we caught up with the X Factor, the junior for KFHS, who will take on Indian River this week. Let's hear what Zadarius told us following the thrilling win over their Suffolk rival right here on Cove Sports TV.
All right, here with the hero for Kingsport tonight, Zadarius Wynn, 40-yard punt return for a score as the Bulldogs beat their Suffolk rival, Nansemond River, 32-27. All right, when you woke up today, did you expect this type of ball game and to have the play come to you in the second half? You're chilling and you get a big punt return. Tell me about what you thought when you woke up and how this feels when you win it.
So at the beginning, we was all up. We had ups and downs, and then halftime, coach put in our mind we had to all stick together, not let up. Mm-hmm. Then when I got the opportunity, I had to make something happen. And if it weren't for my teammate, Lord knows what would have happened.
Sure. You guys have a lot of receivers that eat on this Kingsport team. You're one of them, Denosh Rogers, Keontae Bumpers, Jamel Mackey. I don't leave anybody else out. But special teams plays. Last year, your kicker, Jean-Pierre Belay, had the game winner. Tonight, you get a punt return to go with his field goal. How big is that third aspect? How much do you guys practice that? Because people look at offense, defense, but special teams can win games too.
We practice it a lot. We don't play around at practice. We
I mean, you lock in on that, right? That matters in a game like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it matters in a game. You don't play around in practice, bring it to the game, then that's what it comes to.
All right, be honest. A lot of chatter in school during the week. You move the game up from Friday to Thursday night. It's a Suffolk rival. Whenever you get together with Nansemond River or Lakeland, I mean, you feel you're going to win going in, but you're extra hyped for it, right? Did you guys have to kind of tone it down a little bit when you guys were geeked up coming in, right?
Yeah, we was. Mm-hmm. We was
overexcited, did we say?
We was overexcited. We thought we can just come out here and beat them, but we can't be like that. We got to play out. We got to start good from the first half to the last. Finish.
What can you guys take from this game, the good and the bad, maybe a little of both, and apply moving forward as you guys try to get a championship again and be the best team in the Southeastern and go further this year in the playoffs? What do you guys take from this game tonight, the good and the things you got to clean up on?
We got to clean up on both sides of the ball. We got to stop playing in practice, take it more serious, and then finish the season.
All right, we finish up on a fun one. Be honest with us. Who does the best Coach Joe Freon impersonation on the team? Someone's got to impersonate him. Is it you? Is it Javon Ford? Who does the best Coach Joe when he's not around? He won't see this later.
Javon Ford.
Javon does it? All right.
He be the leader.
He's the leader.
Now we down. He never let up. He tell us to get on our game and don't give up, and we get finished.
Good deal. That's number
Motivation.
2. Motivation. A good win tonight for Zadarius, one of the Bulldogs. Thank you so much. All the best. Good work.
Got that big smile. You gotta love it. It's Zadarius Wynn of Kingsport with us here on the Hatfield. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For Kingsport, it's interesting. They put up 345 yards of offense, yet you feel like they didn't play their best game. Now, that could be bad news for Indian River coming up, but key to this game, and I'm actually going to give the slight edge to Indian River, believe it or not. I wouldn't have said that a week ago before I watched both of them live. The Bulldogs surviving against Nansemond River and the Braves hammering Deep Creek. It's going to be which defense can make the other offense more one-dimensional. And I feel like right now Indian River is trending in that direction because Kingsport did get hit for a lot of passing yards from Nansemond River, 234 by my count, a lot of yards through the air to give up in that ball game that they had just this past week. So I do feel like it's a tricky game. It can go either way. They're going to need a big effort from Ford running the football. The offensive line, like I mentioned with Indian River, was really good. And that's another thing that could be a real determining factor in this game is how that Indian River O-line does against Kingsport, which is going to bring heavy pressure with a lot of different forces. Brandon June, Joshua Pittman, a lot of different guys. And I want to see on the outside that matchup, how that will go with Reggie Davis checking against probably Jason Preston. We'll see who could get thrust into that mixture. Rayvon Moore can be an X factor running the football for Indian River. This figures to be a really good game, one that can go either way, and there's no real definite edge. Although Kirby's ability right now with his legs, maybe more of a dynamic runner right now, scrambler, than DeAndre Artis-Boone, who's a darn good athlete, both sides of the ball, and I can see him playing defensive back and excelling in college, and he's had success this year throwing the football for Kingsport on offense. Kingsport maybe a smidge deeper at wide receiver. So a lot of angles to this game that are fascinating. Going over to the other couple of games that are highlight-worthy matchups in the 7-5-7, you've got the Beach District, Green Run, Salem. Green Run's won 38 in a row, regular season Beach District. Now, Salem did play them tough in the playoffs a season ago. You go back to that semifinal game that they had, second round of the regionals. It was a game that Salem was in pretty much to the end. It was after Green Run got a scare from Deep Creek. Final score was 18-10 in favor of the Stallions. But I look at these two defenses right now, and Green Run has not given up an offensive touchdown all year. They played Tallwood, Kellam, PA, Cox, and Kempsville. And Cox and Kempsville aren't exactly pushovers. They have some reputable offensive pieces on their squads. And to go a little further into that, I would tell you that Salem's going to have the running game take the pressure off of Jason Scooter Williams at quarterback and throwing the football, because I do worry about Green Run bringing heavy pressure in Salem's O-line, even with a four-star headed to Maryland and Jillian Gilchrist being able to block the Stallions, who have some forces off the edge. Zeke Chinwiki was wreaking havoc in that game against Kempsville, and they have some other guys on that defensive front that can do some big things. So this is not, by any stretch of the imagination, an easy game for Salem offensively. They're going to have a hard time, I think, sustaining drives, even with Scooter completing, well over, 55% of his passes, I think it is, on the year. And Willie Moore being, I think, the area's leading rusher at last check with 736 yards and 11 TDs. Charles Jackson's not far behind for Green Run at 591 rushing and 10 TDs. And then you got Kassan Farrar at quarterback, who's tops in the area right now. He's been sizzling, our Chicho's Pizza Player of the Week. And those receivers for Green Run after the catch. How Salem goes about defending Jaden Anderson is really going to be the real big part of the equation of this game. Do you double him? Do you force someone else at the receiver spot to beat them? And they have some other capable receivers. They're maybe not as deep and explosive at wide receiver as they've been in recent years when they had Keelan Brody Adams and Tayshawn Young Steve and Quali Price. Nonetheless, Green Run does have some wide receivers that can step up and make plays if they focus so much on Jaden Anderson, the Virginia Tech commit, including the other Hokies commit known for his work on the defensive side of the ball, and Knowledge Harrell, Kali Morris, Tajon Palmer. There are some other guys, and they'll use Jackson out of the backfield to make catches. So for some reason, that score that's been sticking in my head all week is like 35-19. It could be something like 42-21. It could be a higher scoring game, even though the Salem defense has only given up 28 points on the year. Now, they've played First Colonial Bayside, Lansdowne, Kempsville. So they haven't maybe outside of, they haven't seen a Cox that can run the football and be as physical. They haven't seen some of the more potent offenses around. Haven't played an Ocean Lakes yet. Haven't played a Cox yet. Haven't played Green Run yet. So I do like the linebacker Marcus McCoy for Salem. I think he's a real force, and he will make plays in this game. Fabian Wells is going to have a big effort for Salem on the back end, not just on offensive receiver, but on the back end too. So this is a hard game for Salem to win, although there's a lot of, I'm sure, motivation for Mark Hall, the coach of the Sun Devils, former Green Run standout, wants to beat them, unseat them atop the beach. So the opportunity is there. And athletically, talent-wise, as far as next-level college prospects, Salem matches up better with Green Run than anybody else in the beach, without a shadow of a doubt. Can they step up in class and really deliver in this moment? It's going to be about their defense getting Green Run off script to do it. And they've got to have the running game early and consistent. Willie Moore has been terrific this year. Can he be consistent, getting 20, 25 carries? Because the recipe to getting Green Run is you have to shorten the game. You have to milk the clock. I don't know if Salem's run blocking and O-line is going to be built for that type of game and keeping Green Run off balance and making Green Run impatient, which is going to be something they have to do as well with their defense too. And then the Hampton-Phoebus game, I feel like a lot of people sense that Phoebus will just smack Hampton, piece of cake game. They look at the fact that the Crabbers slipped by Woodside in double overtime to open the season 25-19. Not overly impressive there. Gave up 41 points to King George, who's not as dynamic and game breakers as last year where they had Mekhi White and Chance Wiggins. They don't have those game breakers this year, so they look at those two results and scratch their head. You don't pay much attention to the comfortable wins over Gloucester, Denby, and Kickingham because those are sort of your bottom feeders in the Peninsula District. Not sort of, they are your bottom feeders, along with Heritage and the PD right now. Phoebus got the wake-up call that they needed against Bethel, and they'll be up for the Hampton rivalry game, especially given that last year the Crabbers played them a lot closer than folks were expecting when it was a final score of 28-6. So this could be a big number for Phoebus, 42-48. The one thing I would caution about that with this matchup is Hampton's got a sophomore quarterback like Phoebus does, Phoebus with Maricus Banks, Hampton with Marcus Chapman, that can make things happen with his arm and his legs, and he's mighty good, mighty talented. I don't think he'll be intimidated or fearful of even that aggressive Phoebus defense that will probably get back to its usual standard of being very stout here, and giving up 21 is not sitting well with them all week, I'm sure. But the Hampton offense has got playmakers. They got guys that can make things happen. As far as for them, you're looking at Kamari Lassiter. You've got different guys in the running game. I think that the Hampton offense is not that far removed from where the Phoebus offense is statistically. And again, they've played weaker competition when you consider Phoebus played Holland Springs out of the chute. But 41 points, 41.5 points a game right now to 39 points per game. Offensively, they match up a little better. I just worry about the Hampton. I'm sorry, I said Kamari Lassiter. I meant Casey Lassiter. Casey Lassiter, Sidney Johnson. They got some guys that can catch the football that they're high on. I just worry about the Hampton defense in this game, being able to handle Davion Roberts on the ground. And I do think Phoebus will get some moments in this game to hit him with some screen passes, to take a big shot. And the size for Hampton, it does not stack up with the size for Phoebus, led by Marcus Hobson in the trenches there. That's a big concern for me. So I would give Phoebus a definite edge in this game just from that standpoint. They can play the ground and pound game a lot more freely than Hampton can and be physical and just wear them down early in this game. Crabbers have to get out to a lead, get a big play on special teams, a block or a punt, a long return, something to just unsettle the field positioning and get Phoebus out of whack early, like Bethel sort of did. And I don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row. So that could be the blowout of the big three. And then the other game we didn't really hit on. It's an under the radar game this week. Ocean Lakes and Cox. That's a fourth game if you want to throw that into the mix of a Fab Four this week in a 7-5-7. Look, Cox is really good right now defensively. You take that Green Run game away, where they got beat soundly 34-0. Nobody scored double digits on them. They shut out Lansdowne, FC, Kellum, held Bayside to 9. And they've been giving up very few rushing yards. It's been by committee. No real signature hallmark defensive stud for them. A lot of different guys flying the football. They're disciplined. They're smart. And Ocean Lakes offensively, they've got some weapons that are really emerging, not just the big two for them, which consists of Noah Colon at quarterback, who's putting up major numbers, and Devin McGill catching the football. But William Raines has been a threat running it. They've had Mossenbacher catching it for them. Taylor Vogel on defense is a sack machine right now. They're spreading the ball around to different parts. It's not just Colon to McGill. And offensively, they've done some really, really impressive things to this point. And you look at their first 4 wins, 4-0 for the first time in a while here, looking like some of the Ocean Lakes teams of old to an extent, putting up 44.8 points per game. Now, you're meeting a Cox defense that's going to make it hard on you, and how the Ocean Lakes O-line holds up. It's sort of a trend with all these games. The offensive line play, how you block that Cox defensive front is going to dictate a lot. Do they put Cologne in an offense in third and manageable, or is it third and medium, third and long? That could tell us a lot in this game. And the Cox offense is really efficient. They don't beat themselves with a lot of mistakes. Can Ocean Lakes force them into a rare miscue or two and make them have to throw the football, which they haven't had to do a lot this year with the exception of the green run game. I give Cox the edge in that game, something like 21-17, 20-14. Wouldn't stun me if Ocean Lakes wins this one, though, and that would put them at 5-0 before hosting Kempsville, and then they got Salem last game of the year's at Green Run. So they get this win. To me, they stamp themselves in the playoffs, and I think the winner of this game stamps themselves as hosting a first-round game, which is saying a lot still for Ocean Lakes if they get it, because they still have those games with Kempsville, Salem, and Green Run. But you figure Green Run and Indian River are going to host in the first round. Salem probably as well. That's 3 spots. This could be the team that gets that 4 slot, Ocean Lakes or Cox, if you're really trying to handicap it or break it down in Region 5A at this stage of the season here. As we're in the first weekend of October. So there you have it. A lot of really, really intriguing matchups. I'm looking forward to this week a whole lot. We've got better weather in the forecast, which is always a good thing. And I do think we'll get a couple of compelling finishes. It might not be one of those game of the weeks that we highlighted. There will be a couple, though, that are toss-up games on the docket. We'll see what that Hickory Deep Creek game offers up. Norcom's going to take on Maury. Lake Taylor's going for its first win against Booker T. Washington. We've got York and Smithfield both at 3-1. Can somebody get that 4th win to really enhance their playoff situation? Nance, whatever's trying to bounce back from a couple of tough losses to Kings Fork and Oscar Smith as they visit Western Branch. You've got, I think Bethel will get onto the winning track here after that good showing against Phoebus. They got Kickitan up next here for them. Bay Rivers wise, Lafayette's got Grafton on Thursday night. You look at the Bruton with the week off. They're 5-0. What a job they've done. They'll be taking on Tab next week, and Tab's got Newkent to try to get back on track there. Pocoson's got a pesky Jamestown team who I think they'll beat. Might not be as easy because Jamestown isn't the pushover they were last year. So there's some games that have some storylines to them as we move it along into the 2nd and 3rd weeks of October. And we'll have power ratings, and we're looking forward to breaking that all down for you. That's going to wrap up this edition of On the Hash with Hatfield. We thank Donnell Brown. Congrats to him as the IL Giardino Coach of the Week. Also, the 757 Chicho's Football Player of the Week from Indian River and Cam Kirby. Make sure you interact with us on our YouTube channel on Cova Sports TV. Tweet us, like us, send us notes, videos, anything you want on the show. We'll pop it up here when it has to do with the world of football, high school, college, pro, things that have 757 and VA flavor for sure. So that's going to do it for this edition of the program, and we will do it again with you next week here as we move it into the month, or I should say the 2nd week of October, and get closer and closer to the month of November where it's playoff time. So enjoy your football action. We'll talk to you next time on The Hash with Hatfield. See you later, everyone.